Hello everyone, my name is Anna from Englishlikeanative.com. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you how you can use a fantastic resource to take your level up. Now the resource I'm going to be working with today is not your typical course provider. This is the kind of resource that you should be using in addition to what you're already doing to learn, whether you're taking a course, using my YouTube videos, perhaps you are living and breathing in an English speaking environment and you just need that little bit of help. What's fantastic about this particular resource is it's also available to all levels, and this is where it gets really interesting. So it doesn't matter if you're an A1, A2, if you're in the intermediate area, upper intermediate, or even advanced. This website can be really helpful for you. So let's have a look, shall we? This is sensationsenglish.com. Now, sensationsenglish.com uses current news. They release 3 new lessons a week based on what's happening around the world, which means that the language is very real and relevant. So we're going to work through one of these lessons today. Now, the lesson I want to work through, the one that caught my eye, is this one. A mammoth discovery in Mexico. So let's click on this and open it up. Okay, so what you'll see when you open up one of their lessons is the video. I'm going to choose my level. So here it set me as A1 beginner, but I'm going to say actually I want to watch this video as an intermediate B1 level. And now I'm going to click play. Let's have a watch.
The skeletons of over 100 mammoths have been discovered close to Mexico City. These ancient relatives of the elephant were spotted as a new airport was being constructed. Experts believe that the area was an ancient lakebed and that the animals may have become stuck in the mud. Archaeologists have also uncovered camels, horses, bison, birds, antelopes and fish. The animal remains are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old. The airport construction work is continuing under the supervision of 41 experts. Their task is to ensure the remains are preserved. Archaeologists have already found evidence that early humans used mammoth bones to make tools. It is hoped that further research at the site will help reveal why these ancient mammals became extinct.
Fantastic. Okay, so there we have the B1 version of that particular news article. If I found that difficult, I can now just click A1 and watch a much simpler version of the same news item, which is helpful because it would give me a better idea of the context. A lot of our learning comes from understanding context. It's very hard to know every single word and every single phrase, but if you understand the context, then those words you're unsure about suddenly start to make sense. And actually, many natives will come across words regularly that they don't know, but because the context is there, then they start to understand what that word probably means. So let's have a look at this lesson in more detail. We can do that by scrolling down ever so slightly and looking at the video transcript. Of course, the video itself had subtitles, which you can turn off if you want to use it as a pure listening exercise. But now I'm going to have a look at the transcript, and I can also download and print this off if I want as well. So let's have a look through this. So it says, the skeletons of over 100 mammoths. Now, a mammoth, if you don't know, is a huge animal that used to roam the earth many, many years ago. I think it looks like this. Yes, so a mammoth. The skeletons, so the bones, of over 100 mammoths have been discovered close to Mexico City. These ancient relatives, now the word ancient, if you're not familiar, it means very old. If someone called you ancient, that would be insulting. Sometimes little children say, "Oh, you must be ancient," meaning you must be really old. Anyway, these ancient relatives, so we're referring to the mammals, these ancient relatives of the elephants, so they are related to elephants, and you can see that, can't you? Were spotted, to spot something is to see something, were spotted as a new airport was being constructed. So the new airport is being constructed, and at the same time, these mammoths, which are similar to elephants, were spotted. Experts believe that the area was an ancient, very old, lake bed. So lake bed is the bottom of a lake. It was an ancient lake bed, and that the animals may have become stuck in the mud. Now, if you become stuck, it means you can't move. So obviously mud is very sticky, and if you put your foot into mud and your foot goes quite far down, it's hard to lift your foot out. So you become stuck. So these scientific experts believe the mammoths may have become stuck in the mud, and therefore they couldn't move, and this is perhaps how they died. Archaeologists, these are the experts who find old things, dig them up, examine them, and look after them, preserve them. So archaeologists. Archaeologists have also uncovered camels, horses, bison, birds, antelopes, and fish. The animal remains, and that refers to anything that's left over from a dead animal. So obviously in this case, the remains are pretty much just bones. So the animal remains are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old. The airport construction work is continuing under the supervision of 41 experts. I love that phrase, to be under the supervision of. That suggests that the people who are supervising are standing above you, looking down on you, so you're under them. You are under the supervision of 41 experts. So their task is to ensure that the remains, all these bones, are preserved. So the airport can still be built, but we must be careful not to harm or destroy any of these bones. Archaeologists have already found evidence that early humans used mammoth bones to make tools. So early humans, obviously humans from a long time ago, centuries ago, used these bones to make tools. It is hoped that further research at the site will help to reveal, to uncover, to discover, why these ancient mammals became extinct. The word extinct means no longer exist. So why did they all die out? It's a question that still needs to be answered, and they think that perhaps this finding all these bones will help them to answer that question. Fantastic. So hopefully most of you understood most of that anyway, but hopefully I've just cleared up a few things that you were unsure about. Now, there are some interactive games you might see here, which I will come back to. But what I want to do now is what I would encourage all of you to do if you're using this resource, and that is to jump up 2 levels. So you're going to challenge yourself. We're going to take it up to C1 level and see how different it is. Let's have a watch.
Construction work at a new airport close to Mexico City has led to the unearthing of the remains of over 100 mammoths, the ancient cousins of today's elephants. Experts are working under the assumption that the ancient lake which lay on the site of the proposed airport drew the mammoths to water, and they became stuck in the lakebed mud. The remains of camels, horses, bison, birds, antelopes and fish, all of which are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old, have also been exposed at the site. Archaeologists are now overseeing the site excavations in order to ensure the development proceeds smoothly, while safeguarding the historically significant finds contained in the area. Having already found evidence that early Homo sapiens crafted mammoth bones into tools, archaeologists hope that the find will lay to rest the mystery of why these behemoths became extinct.
Okay, fantastic. So, because of the context, hopefully a lot of that makes sense, but I'm sure what you'll find now is that there's more vocabulary and more of the sentence structure that you aren't familiar with. So we know the context because we've just studied the level that was right for us. But now we're going to take a look at the transcript for this particular version, the C1 version, and see how we can boost our vocabulary and become more familiar with advanced sentence structure. So it says, construction work at a new airport close to Mexico City has led to the unearthing of the remains of over 100 mammals, the ancient cousins. Sorry, I read that wrong. It doesn't help, does it? Let me do that again. Unearthing of the remains of over 100 mammoths, the ancient cousins of today's elephants. Now, this sentence structure is a little bit more complicated. There's a lot of added information here. What you have to do with sentences like this is just take out the key points, see which information is added, and that will help you to understand how it fits together. So the key points here is, we're talking about the construction work. So construction work at an airport close to Mexico City, that's added information. So we know there's construction work. This just tells us where that's happening. And this construction work has led. So then we have the verb, it has led. And what has it led to? It's led to the unearthing. Now, to unearth something means to reveal it, to find it. If you think back to the B1 version, they used the verb discovered. So they say these mammoths have been discovered. So we can compare the two transcripts and realise what unearthing means because of the context. So construction work has led to unearthing of what? Unearthing of remains of over 100 mammoths. We could even just think of it as remains of the mammoths. We don't need to know necessarily the number at this point. Construction work has led to the unearthing of the remains of mammoths. And then the additional clause at the end here is just that. It's additional information that's not necessary so much. It just tells you that mammoths are the ancient cousins of today's elephants. We know from the previous version that this means they are relatives of the elephants, not necessarily directly cousins, but this is something we might say instead of relatives. They are cousins of. Okay, so that helps to clear up the sentence structure. It gives you some additional words that you can be working with. Let's read that again. Construction work at a new airport close to Mexico City has led to the unearthing of the remains of over 100 mammoths. It's not 100 mammoths, it's more than that. It's over 100 mammoths, who are the ancient cousins of today's elephants. Okay, moving on, we have experts are working under the assumption that the ancient lake which lay on the site of the proposed airport drew the mammoths to water and they became stuck in the lake bed mud. Okay, let's break this one down. So, experts are working under the assumption. Did we have that before? No, we had under supervision, didn't we? Under the supervision of. And here we're using a similar phrase, but we're working under the assumption. To work under the assumption of something means, if you assume something, it means you think you know something, but you don't necessarily have the evidence or you haven't gone to check that that's correct. So for example, when my partner takes my son out in the morning, I will assume that they will be back for lunch and that I should make lunch ready for midday. Sometimes I have to check with him. You are coming back for lunch today, aren't you? But because he often comes back for lunch, I will make the assumption. I won't always check, and sometimes that backfires. Sometimes that means I make lunch for everybody and no one turns up and he goes, oh, didn't I tell you we're having lunch out today? Sorry. So it's not always good to assume, but here we've used this phrase to work under the assumption. Under the assumption of what? What are they assuming? Experts are working under the assumption that the ancient lake, here's some extra information, the ancient lake which lay on the site of the proposed airport, let's just put that aside for a minute, the ancient lake drew the mammoths to water. Okay, so they were assuming that the mammoths were there because there was water in the lake. The word drew, so to draw, often it means to put pencil on paper. But to draw can be used in many other ways. And here, if you draw something, it means that you tempt it. You bring it towards you with a promise. A moth is often drawn towards the light, drawn to a flame. You can say that you're drawn to a person because they are attractive in some way. Maybe they have a fun personality. They make you laugh. They make you feel good. I'm just drawn to him. Maybe he's very handsome and I'm drawn to him. Okay, so these experts are working under the assumption that the mammoths were drawn to the lake for water. So they also added information saying the lake which lay on the site of the proposed airport. So here they're saying the airport is planned, it's proposed. They've suggested that the airport is built on this particular site. So it hasn't yet been built fully. And then it goes on to say, and they became stuck in the lake bed mud. So they've just put that particular information at the end there. Let's move on. The remains of camels, horses, bison, birds, antelopes, and fish, all of which are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old, have also been exposed at the site. So what they've done here is put a clause in the middle, which isn't necessary, but it's helpful. So you could take that clause out altogether. So you could say the remains of camels, horses, bison, birds, antelopes, and fish have also been exposed at the site. But what we're doing is adding additional information that may be helpful or useful to you, all of which are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old. Notice how they separate the clause with the commas. Always good practice to get your punctuation correct. These have also been exposed. The word exposed just means revealed. If you're exposed, it also makes you seem a little bit naked, vulnerable. The truth has been exposed. It's been put out in the open for everybody to see. So it's an interesting verb to use. Okay, so all of these remains have been exposed at the site. Archaeologists are now overseeing the site excavations. So to oversee something is like to watch it, to supervise it, to make sure everything goes okay. Perhaps a senior doctor might oversee your treatment. They won't be treating you, but they'll be keeping an eye on what's happening with your treatment. So to oversee something. They are overseeing the site excavation. So an excavation is where you dig out. Okay, so you excavate, you dig out. They are overseeing the site excavation in order to ensure the development proceeds smoothly, while safeguarding, and this means to keep safe, while safeguarding the historically significant finds contained in the area. So the find is, here it is a noun here, the find is the discovery, the remains, the finds, and they are historically significant. They're very important for discovering history. The historically significant finds contained in the area. So contain means to hold, to contain in the area. Okay, moving on. Having already found evidence that early Homo sapiens, now a Homo sapien is an early form of man. So an early form of man. And we know this because it said it in the previous B1 version, didn't it? It said evidence that early humans. So Homo sapien is just a more advanced version of human. These early Homo sapiens crafted mammoth bones into tools. The word crafted just means to make. So to create, to craft. Again, we know that from the previous version because it says these early humans used mammoth bones to make tools. So we know that to craft means to make. It's a version of make. So they crafted mammoth bones into tools. Archaeologists hope that the find will later rest the mystery of why these behemoths became extinct. So the phrase later rest. We use this often when if something has bothered us for a long time, or if it's something that's been debated, discussed, argued about for a long time, then if you lay it to rest, it means you finally get your answers, or you finally decide to stop debating, discussing and questioning something. You lay it to rest. We also use lay to rest in terms of people dying. We lay them to rest once they've died. But we can use this to talk about a long-running debate, discussion. So these archaeologists are hoping that this discovery, this find, will finally lay to rest the mystery. So all the debates, the mystery, the questioning of why these mammoths died and became extinct. And here they haven't used the word mammoth, they've used the word behemoth, which actually to me is a new word. And we know this means mammoth because, one, context, and also because the previous version, they used the word mammoth instead. So we know this is a more advanced version. Okay, so this is kind of the process I would suggest that you go through when working up your skills. You don't have to move 2 steps ahead. You can just do 1 step ahead or just use it at the level that you're comfortable with to try and improve your fluency. Obviously, you have your listening skills when you're listening to the video. Then you use your reading skills as you go through the transcript. And then we've got these additional fantastic games. Now, I'm going to go back to B1 to do these games. Okay, so the first game we have here is prepositions. Oh, let's have a go at this one. So this says complete the sentences. Select the correct preposition. And there are 4 questions. Brilliant. So it tells us what to do. It shows us here how to do it. So you just click on the, yeah, brilliant. That's all very straightforward. So let's play this game. So here it's using sentences from the article we've studied. These ancient relatives, something, the elephant, was spotted as a new airport was being constructed. What do you think it is? Relatives on the elephant, relatives before, per, by, of or upon? Relatives of the elephant would be the correct answer. Let's check it. Nice work, smashed it. Okay, next question. The skeletons of something, 100 mammoths have been discovered close to Mexico City. Skeletons of 100 mammoths, after 100 mammoths, within, over, above, near. Which one do you think it is? It's over 100 mammoths, meaning more than 100 mammoths. Shall we check it? Nice work, smashed it. Okay, next we have archaeologists have already found evidence that early humans used mammoth bones, something make tools. So they used mammoth bones, off make tools, regarding make tools, during make tools, to make tools, from make tools, or considering make tools. And the obvious answer here is to make tools. Good call, you are right. Next question. Experts believe that the area was an ancient lake bed and that the animals may have become stuck something the mud. So can you remember that phrase? What did they become? They became stuck in the mud. So you're stuck in the mud. Stuck in the mud. Bravo! That's right. Yay, I got 4 out of 4. Fantastic. Okay, so what are some of the other games I could play? I could do verbs. So select the correct verb. That could actually be good maybe at the higher level. I could put the sentence back together so it jumbles up the sentence. Comprehension, let's do the sentence one. Okay, this says put the sentence parts in the correct order. Each sentence is in 4 pieces. There are up to 5 questions. Okay, so this shows me how to do it. Oh, here I select the level. I didn't realise that. Okay, so let me select this at B1 level. Play the game at B1. All right, so put the sentence back together. Click on A, B, and C or D as you try to put each part in the correct order. The sentence has had its capital letters and full stops removed because that's always a good trick, isn't it, to follow the capital letter. So they've been removed. So we have their task, ensure the remains are preserved, is to. All right, so I think it would go this way. Their task is to ensure the remains are preserved. Is that right? Woohoo! Nice work. Did you get it? Let's move on to the next question. The airport construction work under the supervision of 41 experts is continuing. All right, so I think this would be the airport construction work is continuing under the supervision of 41 experts. Phew, nice work, smashed it. Okay, good. All right, have a look at this one. Of over 100 mammoths have been discovered close to Mexico City, the skeletons. All right, so I think it's this. The skeletons of over 100 mammoths have been discovered close to Mexico City. Nice. Next one. Between 10,000 remains are and 25,000 years old, the animal. Do you know this one? The animal remains are between 10,000 and 25,000 years old. Well done. Try this one. Okay, I think it's archaeologists have already found evidence that early humans used mammoth bones to make tools. Is that the same answer you got? You are correct. Okay, so you can see how useful that's going to be. It's going to help you to think about sentence structure. And we've already obviously tested our prepositions. Now we've looked at structure. You can look at verbs. Comprehension, what's this? Answer questions about the news report. Select answers. Okay, so this is about whether you really understood. Should we try this one? Should we try this one at C1 level? Oh, I hope I don't embarrass myself here. Okay, so I'm going to do this one at advanced. So, experts believe the mammoths died, A, due to the condition of the land, from ingesting too much lake water, because of territorial conflicts with other animals, within the last 10 millennia. So it didn't say anything about when they died. It also didn't mention other animals, other than it said remains of other animals had been found. It didn't say that they drank water, just that they believed the water drew them there. So it must be due to the condition of the land, which obviously was mud, right? The mud got them stuck. Correct. Okay, so we've looked at prepositions, we looked at sentence structure, and that's going to really help you, especially if you go more advanced, to look at more complicated sentence structure. There are other games I have tried. So I've tried the Spelling Jumble, which I actually find that really hard when you take a word and you mix all the letters up and you have to try and spell it correctly. I always find that really difficult, but that could be very helpful. There are obviously games on verbs, because that can help you with your vocabulary. Comprehension, that just asks you questions about what you've read to make sure that you really understood what you were reading. And there's one here, missing vowels. Complete the sentences, select the correct vowel for each space. There are 5 sentences. Okay, so that's going to help again with your spelling. What's this little arrow take me to? Oh, there's another one here. Missing words, complete the sentence. Select the correct word. Fantastic. I mean, there's just so much. You could spend so much time here just going through one lesson, just going through all the different activities to really work a range of skills. Now, they also have study tools where you can read at 3 different speeds. So this is going to help to improve your reading speed. I'm not a very fast reader, and so you can choose here to have it slow, medium or fast. I can't do the fast very well, but that's because I'm a slow reader. You could read this out loud, or you could practice reading this just with your eyes, reading it quietly. So that's another thing that you can do with these lessons. I'm going to go back here. Fantastic. So I hope you found that helpful today. Now, Sensations English release 3 new lessons a week. And I don't know about you, but if I'm really incorporating a resource like this into my language learning, I'm very busy. I think this would take you about an hour, perhaps a little longer, especially if you're going to then revise it a little later on. There's no point in learning something and then walking away and thinking that information is going to stick. If you just learnt some new vocabulary, some new phrases or a new sentence structure, it's important to revise that. So I'd write all my new vocabulary and phrases down, and then later that day, maybe even just a couple of hours later, I'd look again. Then the next day I'd look again, and then maybe the next week I'd look again. And that's how you really start to embed long-term memories. So the new words, for example, under the supervision of. If you're going to remember that phrase, I work under the supervision of my manager, or he was working under my supervision. If you want to remember that phrase, hearing it once is not going to help. Revise it at least 4 times, spread over once the same day, once the next week, the next month. Then you're really going to have made long-lasting memories of that vocabulary. So I would put aside at least an hour a day to work with these lessons. Now they release 3 new lessons a week, so that's 3 hours a week. That's very workable. But if you want more than that, they have this huge backlog of previous articles. So let's go back to their main page here. You can choose from community, culture, entertainment, hard news, innovation, lifestyle, or the natural world. And there's just all sorts. The most popular lessons, obviously very topical, man-made disasters, politics. Fantastic. And then you've just got so many options of things to work with. So if you want to go hardcore, come and sign up to Sensations English and just absolutely go through their library. Just endless amounts. And obviously every week there are 3 more added. So plenty to be going on with. Okay, so as you can tell, I think Sensations English is fantastic. It would be a great option for you to go and sign up and use them as part of your learning resources. I'll leave a link and all the descriptions about them down in the description box below. Go and check them out. Let me know how you get on, and I'll see you guys again soon.